The OSI model is a theoretical model to show how data is handled from an application through to the network. To demonstrate the way data is passed through the OSI's layers, we are going to follow an email transaction.
The email is first composed. This is not part of the OSI model, but rather an application on your system doing its job. Once the send button is pressed, the email starts its transition through the layers to the network. When traveling down the layers towards the physical medium, the data is broken into bits that can be transmitted through the medium.
Layer 7, the application layer, is what most closely interacts with the application, or Outlook in this case. SMTP, Secure Mail Transfer Protocol, is first used to start the conversion of turning our human-made email into data that can be sent.
Layer 6, or the presentation layer, then converts the data further. In this layer, the text is converted to ASCII and the picture is JPEG.
Layer 5, or the session layer, is next. This layer is responsible for adding the session header. It is also responsible for establishing a connection with the receiving node, which in this case would be the mail server responsible for delivering the email.
Layer 4, or the transport layer, is where it starts to get a lot more interesting. At this theoretical layer, TCP is used to break the data into segments before being sent to the next layer. TCP segments can be viewed using software such as Wireshark. Here we see the SYN-ACK happening. This step establishes connection and the reason that TCP is considered a connection-based protocol.
Layer 3, the network layer, comes next. At the network layer, IP is used to add a source and destination address to the data headers. At this point, the data officially becomes a packet. By viewing the IP given to us earlier in Wireshark, we can see that the destination of our data was the Bluehost mail server.
Layer 2 is the data link layer. At layer 2, the data becomes frames. For email specifically, these frames would be designed for Ethernet.
The last layer, layer 1, is the physical layer. This layer deals directly with the physical medium in which the data will travel. At this layer, our email becomes bits to travel the Ethernet wire.
To be read on the receiving end, the email must then travel back up all the layers that it just went through. As it travels up the layers, the data, which is now in bit form, returns back into the language we can understand.
As we already said, at the physical layer, the data is bits. It is translated into frames when passed to layer 2, the data link layer. At layer 3, the data builds back up into frames, and then segments at layer 4.
Layer 5, the session layer, is where the header was originally created and is now where the established connection can be ended.
At layer 6, our data is once again ASCII and JPEG form.
At layer 7, the data is now ready to be passed to the application, the email program being used by the receiver.
In Outlook, the email program we use, the header can be inspected. This shows a breakdown of the communication path, including protocols used, ports, and IP addresses our email traveled to get to its destination.
Thanks for watching!